Tell me your story.
Tell me your story.
How did it all start? Do you remember?
Oh, now what happened? How did it stop?
This is Small Business Origins.
Yeah, what up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Small Business Origins. I'm your host, as always, John Kelley, aka John the Marketer on Instagram and TikTok. And you're tuned in. It's our nationwide search. We're looking for entrepreneurs that have a story to tell. And joining us virtually in the studio, I have an entrepreneur that wants to do just that. From Chicago, Illinois, we have Haley Burns with SugarCopy.com. Haley, welcome to the show.
Hey, so nice to be here. Thanks, John.
Absolutely. It is nice to have you here. I love meeting new people and talking about new topics. And copywriting is something we haven't really discussed on this show. It is probably reserved for nerds like you and I that are just nerding out about what copy we have on websites, what copy we're putting on social media. You know, branding and storytelling is all about what you're saying. That's what people are reading. That's their first impression of you. It's important. So I can't wait to kind of get that message out to all of our listeners today. But we start out every single episode with an icebreaker question. And today's icebreaker question is, would you rather live 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future?
Definitely in the future. Yeah, I'm all about that modern medicine, you know?
Yep. This is a hard one, though, because it's like things were so much simpler in the past and seemed, you know, kind of better, I guess, whenever you think about like today's society and the stuff we're going through. But I'm with you, like, especially with technological advances. And I mean, like we look at things like exactly what you do, your job, it gets easier for you to be creative because you have so many tools available with technology versus back in the day, things were a whole lot different. I mean, for me, it's kind of probably pure laziness, man. I don't want to work as hard as they had to 100 years ago to get things done. I think it's just we're heading towards a society where things get easier, which means usually better. So I'm with you. I'd rather live 100 years in the future, although I am scared to see what that looks like.
It's like, would you rather have the common cold take you off or OD on microplastics?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what to expect here anymore.
Yeah.
Well, before we hop into it, we always take a second to stop and thank our sponsors. So I want to talk to you about Wingman today. It's time to revolutionize your business operations. And Wingman is an all-in-one marketing automation software designed by experienced marketers who understand your struggles. It's a game changer. It combines the best tools to streamline your communication, automate your workflows, and grow your business. You can capture leads using landing pages, surveys, forms, and more. You can nurture them with personalized messages via voicemail, SMS, emails, and even Facebook Messenger. And you can close those deals with built-in tools to collect payments, schedule appointments, and track analytics. It's never been easier. So say goodbye to multiple marketing tools and hello to Wingman. It's your unified platform for all of your business needs. You can enhance your online presence, manage your reputation effectively, and cultivate leads effortlessly. So are you ready to take your business to new heights? Visit trustyourwingman.com today and let Wingman be your co-pilot to success, because every business needs a wingman. But Haley, we're here to talk about you today. So let's start with your origin story. Where did you come from and how'd you get into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I left Florida at 20 years old. I studied biomedical science in Scotland. And then I realized that I would be kind of tied down to wherever I was staying or certified to work in a laboratory with that degree. And I remember just looking up like remote jobs or like jobs with a possibility of being remote and finding out about copywriting. And at the time I was working at a call center. And so I just got a big stack of books on copywriting from like the legends of direct marketing. And I was reading them on the side. And yeah, I started on Fiverr.com making like $30 a gig after studying it on my own. And then I was able to ask for more as I got better. And then eventually that kind of evolved into SugarCopy.
So what made you have this switch and want to go overseas to kind of live and study?
I met like an online friend and they were going to study in Scotland from, Eastern Europe. And I was like, oh, that sounds like an interesting idea. And I applied for a really random scholarship at from Santander Bank, and I got it. So I was like, oh, well, the first year is paid for. Okay, I'm just going to do it. And it was really out of character because I was kind of like a shy person. So yeah, it doesn't make sense in hindsight, but it happened. So
Yeah. So are you kind of like a digital nomad? Do you move around? Is that why you wanted to do this?
yeah, I think not originally, but like I spent the last 10 years around Europe, and now I've just actually been in Chicago for 2 months. But before that, I was like in Estonia, and then just all over.
Yeah. So how long have you been in Chicago now?
Just 2 months, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You just said
Yeah,
that. I'm distracted
yeah.
because, I'm a firefighter and I can hear a fire truck in the background.
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
like,
I'm sorry.
No, I'm like a kid. It excites me. I love it. Maybe more firefighters will tune in because they'll be like, man, I can hear that cue just screaming back there. I think,
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's awesome. So do you have plans to kind of stay for a while, or do you just kind of move as things, progress and you decide you want to try somewhere else out?
This will be my first time kind of trying to stay somewhere. It's a scary idea, but I would like to put down some roots because it's annoying to meet people all over again. And I think this is a really good place for business. Yeah.
So was this something where you just kind of went to college and started studying, getting these degrees, and then all of a sudden made a transformation and a switch, or did you have like a day job before this?
I never particularly got a job with my degree, which was supposed to be research. I kind of learned quite quickly after my bachelor's that just wasn't for me. And I was still 23 when I started studying copywriting, and I was just doing odd jobs, working in an awful call center, a Korean restaurant. So yeah.
That's amazing. So copywriting, what has been kind of your niche? Like, what have you mainly been focused on and getting experience in?
Yeah, I started off working with a lot of technology companies. I still kind of like behind the scenes work with those people because I have a lot of just industry knowledge and what's going on with like SaaS and just basically cybersecurity. And so that was how I started. And I was doing a lot of like video sales letters and websites. And I wanted to pivot to writing sales pages and more like launch copy. And I felt like that was more of a need for coaches. So I now mainly work with like life coaches, business coaches. What I call it is inspirational brands. So like inspirational people, or whether that's a small business or an entrepreneur, solopreneur.
So when I hire you and I'm looking to work with you, is there anything that you don't particularly do, or do I kind of get you on a retainer to write whatever it is that I need, from press releases to newsletters to the website? Like, how does it look when I'm working with you?
Yeah, so I only focus on direct response copy, which is not like article writing. I don't really do white papers. What I do is basically any copy that's intended to create a direct response, whether that's a conversion or a sign up or registering, to basically putting in their name somewhere, buying something. If the copy has that goal in mind, that's kind of the copy that I'm writing. It can be measured very easily, unlike, for example, blog posts. So for direct response copywriting, there's a lot of research that goes into it, customer research, marketing research. And right now that the three main things that tends to fall into for me is Facebook ads, email marketing, and sales pages.
So what's the benefit here of hiring a professional copywriter versus, we've all heard about ChatGPT and AI in general. Like, what sets you apart from these tools that are free or cheap and really makes a difference for your client?
Yeah, it's like totally not apples to apples. I think you can use maybe ChatGPT for blog writing or something like that. But like I said, a lot of research goes into direct response copy. So if you want a sales page, it needs to be very strategically written, not just in terms of structure, but every word needs to be backed by something that 100% resonates with what your customer is thinking. And one of the ways that I do that, or the way that I do that, is in my projects. I during my research, I create like a messaging hierarchy of customers' wants, desires, dreams, objections, problems, and I spend a lot of time in a big nerdy spreadsheet, like organizing, what are those top things that customers are looking to buy, and what will resonate with them. So that's just not something that strategy level work is not something that ChatGPT can do. And a lot of times it's not something that business owners know how to do or have time to do. But it's really important if you want like a sales page or emails that convert and are saying the right thing to the right people.
Yeah. So when I'm coming to you for this work, does it work on kind of a retainer, or is it that I should have certain projects together I want to work on and get that priced out by you individually?
Yeah, I don't typically do retainers. I have packages that are pretty popular, whether that's an entire copy funnel or just just the email sequence or just the sales page. I like to do it all so that it's cohesive and um, all of the messaging is accurate. Everything flows seamlessly. So if I've written the emails and the sales page, so that's why I have the packages, the popular packages. But yeah, I think that answers your question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you see kind of in the industry when clients are coming to you, like a common misconception or something that if you had 100 of your clients in the room and you could just teach them one thing, what would that message be? Is there anything that we need to know as clients before we come to you? It's the tough questions on small business origins.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I just think about it in a way of like in marketing in general with websites and stuff, like copywriting is actually something that we struggle for our clients to understand sometimes, where they'll come and they say, I want this website, and our websites don't typically include any type of, like, we'll go to ChatGPT and make you something that's a placeholder content there to help you out. But really and truly, the messaging for specific clients, it's hard for us as a marketing agency focusing on design and getting the setups and automations in place to focus on exactly what your business is, where it's coming from, and what words need to be on the page. That's the most important part of a copywriter for me, is really being able to express that to someone who's visiting a site or reading a funnel or something like that, where they're kind of needing to see something from the perspective of that business owner or an expert in that specific industry. Whereas for us, it's like, we understand where you're coming from and how these things work, and we'll put some basic copy in there for free, but we have copywriters on staff, and we recommend copywriters like yourself all the time to truly help develop something that actually works for them. And it's hard for us to really get that across to people when they come to us. They kind of think of it as like, an online business card, their website. So it's like, well, why do I need anything that costs so much money for people to put words on paper? And it's like, well, sit down and try and put those words to paper yourself, and you'll understand where we're coming from. So I'm wondering if you face something similar in your industry like that.
Yeah, I don't know. When I'm hearing you say this, I think a lot about, and like no shade or anything, but I've met clients who have their own marketing agency, and it feels like they're trying to do so many things that they aren't great at just writing copy. And a lot of times their copy will just sound like ChatGPT and sound so general and watered down that I'll literally like bring their own page to them and be like, this isn't say anything.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt in our industry, there is so much out there. So many different types of agencies out there, and God love them. I mean, I'm not, again, not throwing shade, just like you're not trying to. It's just that not every copywriter is made the same. Not every marketing agency is made the same. Not every car dealership. Like, no matter what the industry is, you've got those different types of places, and that's what one thing we like to do is offer high, top quality content for our people, whether it's in design or in copy or anything else. We're looking to have an expert in that field perform that task, not just throw a one size fits all band-aid and say, we'll build you a website for $1,000. It's like, no, if you come to us, you want quality costs money, you get what you pay for. So I can understand exactly where you're coming from, where it's like, hey, just some generic stuff thrown in there is not going to get you very far. You need something that's persuasive. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing I've learned in marketing itself, whether it was in college or, just on the streets getting experience, is the more persuasive you can be in your sales call, the more persuasive you can be in your writing, and the higher quality of writing you have there, the more value you provide to your client, the more likely you are to close that sale and get that deal.
100%. Yeah. And I think a lot of times people are relying on like templates for sales pages and copy. And I feel like a lot of that just isn't working anymore. It's like people are getting smart, and those kind of wireframes or like bro marketing gimmicks just aren't the same as like really spending, weeks on in-depth research to get that really authentic message across in the copy that's really like personality packed and persuasive.
So when you're working with a new client, how do you express their personality in your writing? Since obviously you're a different person, like, what does it look like to work with you? Is this something where you're just such an expert in the industry that you're working on that's who you target? Or does it also happen to be the fact that you're having some meetings prior to writing this stuff and kind of understanding the tone that these people set?
Yeah, we definitely have a couple of meetings, which is important. And a lot of the tone, not only is it informed by their personal brand, but also the research. So that might pivot a little bit depending on what I found when I'm developing the messaging. But it tends to be pretty easy. I've never had a complaint of like a client say, this doesn't sound like me. I would say that there's a lot of overlap. I work with a lot of, like I said, life coaches, and they tend to be pretty spiritual. The overall voice that I would say that kind of the thread that binds all of my clients is that they're very aspirational. So I think it's kind of something that I've iterated on myself, and I wouldn't say I have problems picking it up if something's new.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you can service anyone from around the world with today's digital age. Is there any industry that you're not really working for? Like, how do I know if I'm an ideal client for you and need your services?
Yeah, I would say I'm trying to steer away from tech, but basically just if people who are course creators, coaches who have emails, sales pages, they're trying to sell a digital product or a digital course, that just tends to be my jam. It's pretty broad. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what is your favorite thing about Chicago? What draws you there? I know this is kind of more of a personal question, but what makes you want to stay there in that area?
Yeah. So my visa ran out in Estonia, the last place I was living in, and I've been pretty resourceful with my methods of staying around Europe, and I'm kind of sick of doing that. I'm getting a little older. So I was like, you know what, I'm going back. And also I think it's really nice to just be around where most of my potential clients are, because I work with so many Americans, and now I'm in the same time zone as them. So that was a plus. I'm in the same currency. And I actually spent 7 months here in 2020. It was COVID-esque time, so not exactly like the time of my life, but I was shocked with how beautiful it is and how friendly like Midwesterners are. So yeah, I fell in love after thinking I would never live in America again.
Yeah, I've got a good friend of mine that I've known since kindergarten, and he moved shortly after we graduated to Chicago, and he swears by it. He loves it. He's constantly telling me, like, dude, you have a place to stay. You need to come visit and just like crash at my place and come see. It's not all doom and gloom like is reported in the media. You know, there's some beautiful places there too.
You've not been here before?
I have not. That is
Oh.
Illinois is a whole state I have never visited in the United States at all.
Yeah, I never thought I'd like it. Never thought I'd live here. I just thought of like tumbleweeds and cows. But I think it was like last year, and don't quote me, but there was some article that was important that said it was like voted #2 most beautiful city in the world, like underneath Prague. And I believe it. It is gorgeous. For some reason, the water is this really surreal color of turquoise, and it runs through the city and the river, and it just reflects off of all the buildings. It's really lovely.
Yeah, it's definitely somewhere I need to go. I love to travel and check out different parts of the states. And I feel bad that I've probably traveled abroad more than I have in my own country. So, you know, I definitely need to come visit sometime for sure.
Do it.
So whenever I'm looking for a copywriter, what are some things that I need to kind of look for as a client to know if the person I'm talking to is the person I need to work with?
Yeah, I think what's important is research, and sometimes it can be a little deterring to know how long that takes timeline wise, but it's really, really important to writing good copy because within the research, we are doing surveys and interviews with my clients, past clients, to get really good data. And I think a red flag might be someone that only spends like a week on research, which actually takes up more than half of my projects. I think trends show, the data shows that good research means high converting copy. So I think I would just be wary of turnaround times, or, you know, somebody who does say that they can write a sales page in 1 week, because, you know, that screams ChatGPT to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably something that not a lot of people are aware of on the copywriting side. When you say research, you're not talking about having citations in your page or in your copy. You're talking about researching what information that's put on that page is actually going to make a difference to your potential new clients or clients you may be retargeting, or just clients that you're trying to retain.
Yes, for sure. And just making sure that the message of all of the copy, the writing that we're putting out really fits with the client's customer avatar.
Yeah, I think avatars are something that some of these business owners just don't understand how important that is. You know, when you're doing anything in business, you need to have in mind exactly who it is that you're trying to reach. And then you need to make sure that everything you put out is going to affect them in that way. You know, if it's an older couple that's got grown children and those children are in the military or have degrees and they're doing something and they've got kids, so these are actually grandparents that you're trying to reach, versus 20-something-year-old younger generation people, then obviously you could write me the same copy that I need done for those two different people, because I may be targeting one of those while another company's targeting a different one, and it's two totally different pages of information. Same information, just different words and a different way of presenting it.
Yeah, it can be really subtle. An example of something that just popped into my mind is I was writing an advertorial a while back for selling solar panels so long ago. Anyway, I remember being asked to rewrite an advertorial that I had written to target the US for the UK. And we had to change a line it was something like, my prayers were answered. But because people aren't as religious in the UK, we had to like change it to like, we saw it as a sign. Like it can be really, really subtle verbiage like that, but you need the research to know.
It's insane how those little things can affect somebody's complete thought process behind what you're doing just based off of the words you are using. I mean, it's so important. So is there anywhere that we can like connect with you online in order to see if we might be a good fit and have some work for you to do for us?
Yeah, sure. You can just find me at SugarCopy.com. That's about it. I have a Facebook as well, facebook.com/Haley.copywriter. Find me on LinkedIn. That's it. Yeah.
And I'm sure you do, but do you offer like some examples of specific pieces that you've put together before so that we can kind of see what it is that you've been writing and see if we like your style?
Yeah, I've got a portfolio page on my website, sugarcopy.com/portfolio. And then I'm really happy to share some of my really top performing long form copy from emails and sales pages.
Do you have any types of stories of like the craziest thing that you've ever had to write or the weirdest thing, or does anything crazy like that happen in your industry, or is it pretty straightforward in business?
So before I was kind of more inclined to take what I could get when I started, I remember writing some mail enhancement product stuff that was weird. And I had just started and I was like, what the heck is happening? But now I can, be discerning, and I choose to work with people that I vibe with on a personal level and brands that are, I try to focus on mission-driven businesses that I can feel good about using the power of copy and written word to sell their products.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing that a business is going to face if they do decide to go down the route of not having a good copywriter give them the information they need to place there? Like what is it that's going to happen to me if I just decide to write my own stuff or ChatGPT it?
It's like having a salesman on your website. It's the difference between just, I don't know. It's everything, like to have the right words, because that's the starting point into your brand. It's the door. And if you mess that up, then they're not going to get on call with you. And that's just the foundation. Yeah.
Are there any brands that you can talk about specifically, like what the coolest or biggest brand that you've gotten to kind of work closely with is?
Yeah. So my biggest and maybe my favorite is Iyanla Vanzant from she had a show with Oprah, and she's bigger in the African American community, but I'm really honored to work with her. I love her, and very cool kind of personal development content and spiritual content.
That's amazing. Well, is there anything else that you kind of want to get out there to the world and make known about your company or copywriting in general? Anything that we didn't cover that, like I said kind of before, just that one thing that you could just kind of spread out there to everybody that sets you apart and makes you different?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent, especially now in 2023. I feel like a lot of people have brought their businesses online, and there's a lot of saturation. We're pressured more than ever to just stand out. And so I think, along with having really in-depth research, is just having like a really strong personality and having a lot of creativity is really important in your copy and your marketing if you want to stand out from the competition. And I think I do a really great job at that. I'm kind of a weirdo myself, but that combined with just like, I don't know, all of my weird interests and all of the book reading I do, I'm able to take some really boring concepts and make them super snazzy. And I think that that's really important today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Haley, I can't thank you enough for spending some time with me today and talking about yourself and SugarCopy. I mean, we're going to have all this information linked in our show notes below so that people can reach out to you and connect with you. But thank you for being a guest on the show and telling us all about, your life and what you've been doing. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much, John.
Absolutely. And listeners, as always, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Small Business Origins. We appreciate you. We couldn't do this thing without you. There'd be no point. So every single week you're tuning in with me and you're listening to another entrepreneur, another business owner, and catching some insights into industries that maybe you haven't explored before. So as always, our call to action is just go to the website, check out everything Haley's working on and what she has going, see if she's a good fit for you, because as a marketer, I'm telling you, copywriting is so important in everything that you do. It's how you're going to draw your customers in. It's how you're going to catch their attention in a world where attention is something that is just not very popular anymore. We are scanning for the next TikTok video, going through the next YouTube short, watching a bunch of reels, and you've got that 10 to 15 seconds to capture them. And Haley is going to help you capture them and keep their attention for longer than that, and then make them into clients. So make sure you visit our guest's information, check it out, contact her. And that's it for us. It's been another great episode with another awesome entrepreneur from across the country. We'll see you on the next one. And as always, stay beefy, my friends.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Small Business Origins.
I love an origin story.
If you like what you just heard, leave us a review, subscribe, and share with a friend.
You guys, check this out.
They're going to love it. You're going to love it.